key critical question or two of them then becomes the important next step. You know, if they walk away only having vented but not having seen the situation from a different perspective or a different level and thinking about what to do differently, then it was a nice meeting, but not necessarily something that's been really helpful to them. So I think, you know, it's always kind of checking in with yourself about what is it that you can contribute and how best to contribute that in a way that folks can hear it, that people can hear it. And it's the same, I think the same thing that I've gotten from mentoring is the same thing that I think I try to give, connections to people who have done what they're doing or who are interested in what they're doing or who could fund what they're doing, or to help them build relationships with other leaders so they don't feel so isolated. I hear a lot. In fact, I met with a leader last week, and she said, you know, it's just really isolating to be the executive. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and especially in this happened to be a woman who was leading a women's organization, and she was surprised at how lonely she felt sometimes and being there. And, you know, part of what I'm trying to do with her and other clients is connect these women leaders so that there are these women's leadership circles so that you have support. So connect them, support them, give them advice, share books that I love with them.
Love that.
Or thoughts, you know. You know, it's a very honored place to be when someone sort of identifies you as someone they want to be mentored by, mm-hmm. Or championed by. And, you know, and I think, you know, we need to champion more women leaders and help them advance. And that means you got to stick your neck out a little bit sometimes. And I certainly have had those champions in my own world that have, you know, gone from mentor to champion where they were really helping to position me. And, you know, I think I try to do that for my mentees who are ready, you know, to go to that place, and that I feel like are ready. Because, you know, you put your own personal collateral on the line when you advocate for somebody in that way. And, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a long-winded answer.
No, everything that you said is so helpful. I know you mentioned, you know, connecting people with other people. So as for women who, you know, you're not an executive, you're not a manager, but let's say you are in a position to where maybe you can make that step at some point, how do you recommend she find and create her network?
Well, I think, you know, we're always taking in information and saying, oh, I like how she did that. I like how he did that. So I think, you know, being willing to step out and say to somebody, hey, could we grab a cup of coffee together? I just love to talk to you about, you know, what I just saw you do or what I just heard you say and I think at every stage in your career, I mean, I told you, my first mentor, I was 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, who knew what I was going to be in the world? I had no idea. And yet, you know, getting that kind of feedback and getting the opportunity to be up close to somebody who you really admire what they're doing or how they're thinking or how they are in the world and learning from them is something you need to do. And I say to, you know, the women, even in the corporate sector that I have coached, you know, because corporate can be a little tiered, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's being willing to go have those coffees with people above you and around you and below you, and not sort of limiting, you know, well, I only want this kind of mentor. Oftentimes, you know, it's good to pick somebody who's not just like you, who's not, you know, necessarily on the path that you want to be on, because I think exposing yourself to different ways of thinking and different ways of approaching things help you figure out your way, you know? And I think that that's the key. Each of us have to figure out, and especially as women, we have to become good leaders of ourselves, and then really, from that place, know that you can reach out into the world and connect with people. And I have found people are just so gracious with their time and really flattered.
Really?
You know, when you say to them, I love X, you know, that you did. I love how you handled that meeting, and I'd love to just sit down with you and talk about how you prepare for meetings and what goes on for you, you know?
And it seems like intimidating, though.
Well, everything's intimidating if you let it be.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's just sort of saying, I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? This is something I do with myself all the time. What's the worst thing that could happen? You reach out and the person says, no, I don't want to do it. Can you live with that? Of course you can.
Yeah.
Right? And the world's not going to end because they said no. You might be a little, I don't know, ruffled because of it, you know. But at the end of the day, it's not going to impact your life one way or the other. But I would say 9 times out of 10, people would say yes. So, you know, it's kind of these thoughts that we have in our minds that keep us limiting ourselves. And I think, you know, I talk a lot about that in my book. Like, you have to sort of say, like, okay, is that real or is that my fear? Is that what I'm worried about? And, okay, well, that might or might not be true. And so let me actually test that out and see if that's true. And, you know, with that information, then I can take the next step. But a lot of people see fear as a red light rather than a yellow light, and a yellow light is caution, right? So, just, you know, slow down, think about what you're doing, and proceed with caution.
All right. Yeah, I love that. It's really good advice.
So, you know, can't be intimidated by people. They're just people. They put their pants on the same way you do.
Yeah, you're right. So through the learning that you gained in launching and evolving the Women's Fund of Rhode Island, what elements would you say are essential to a woman's career growth?
What elements are essential to women's career growth? Well, so I think knowing who you are, spending that time getting to know yourself, what you like, what you don't like, what you're afraid of, what you're willing to take risks on, what you're not willing to take risks on, I think is important. I think the ability to self-reflect is critical in a leader. And again, I think we're all leaders. You know, it's just at what level, you know, and how much responsibility that leadership comes from. But I think pushing yourself to learn and to grow without always the expectation that there's going to be some reward on the other side, but that you're doing it because you want to be a better better leader, better person, better manager, better supervisor, better employee. Is really critical. I think, you know, reaching out for feedback, not waiting until evaluation time, you know, for feedback and then feeling blown away by it, but constantly getting feedback so that you are constantly checking how you think you're progressing against how others see the work that you're doing. Is important. Obviously, I think education is important. You know, but having a balanced life is important.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, those are all great. I love the pushing yourself without looking for this self-gratifying reward, like maybe developing yourself in a way that would actually help either your employer, other people, your organization. Yeah.
You know, I found, and I've said this forever, I can get skill sets for people. You know, like if you don't know how to do something, there's training out